I want to start this morning by thanking the owner operators of WABC, John and Margot Katsimatidis. And I'm going to mention Rita Cosby in a second, but we attended an event at the Plaza Hotel tonight, even though it's morning time now, where Mr. Katsimatidis was honored by LIU Brooklyn. The event provides scholarships of $6,500, to be frank with you folks, for kids that look like me. And this is so important because I still remember when I first went to college in 1982, graduate of the New York City public school system, Theodore Roosevelt High School in the Bronx, out of the Throgs Neck housing project in the Bronx. And it was a few days. I had went to a summer institute program, we went home, and then came back, and it was a few days before the fall semester started. So the dorms were not opened yet, and the meal plans had not kicked in yet. And when I went back to school, my family didn't have much, and I had no money in my pocket. I had enough to pay for the bus ticket to get back to Cortland, New York, and nothing to eat. And so these scholarships are life or death for some students. And I also learned something at the event tonight. I did not know that LIU Brooklyn is the home of the Rock Nation School of Music, Sports, and Entertainment. And I really want to thank Rita Cosby because I've never heard Rita discuss this on the radio, but Rita is out there raising money for underprivileged children in her spare time. And so, you got to be a special person to understand the need, and then because anybody can point to the problem, but very few people can come up with the solution. And so thank you to the Katsimatidis. It really touched my heart tonight in terms of what they're doing to help young people from early age to teen years to college years. And so my topics tonight, a number of them. Criminals in New York. We're going to get to Texas. Criminals in New York have become so emboldened, if you will. Some, if they're going to turn themselves in these days, they want to turn themselves into the mayor of New York. They want the mayor to be present when they turn themselves in. Can you believe the world that we're living in? And with the Q train alleged shooter, it almost happened where he almost surrendered to the mayor of New York City today, or rather now I should say yesterday. Yesterday was the funeral. And let me just go back for 1 second to the alleged Q train shooter. You probably already knew I was going to say this, that this guy was in custody a few weeks ago, stealing a vehicle, possession of stolen property. Prosecutors wanted bail. The judge released him. No bail. We'll get to that a bit later. Today was a funeral for 11-year-old Kiara Tay, unintentionally shot and killed by a gunman riding on the back of a scooter, according to the NYPD. And now to the situation in Texas. Let's find some common ground solutions. Let's try. And here's one. Raise the age to 21 that a young person can purchase either a semi-automatic weapon, an automatic weapon. I feel that there should be universal background checks. But raising the age of when a young person can get a semi-automatic or an automatic weapon, that's a decent start. That's the law in California, among the states, Florida, Washington State. And now, New York Governor Kathy Hochul of New York wants to do the same here in New York. She wants to raise the age to obtain these types of weapons until the age of 21.
How does an 18-year-old purchase an AR-15 in the state of New York, state of Texas? That person's not old enough to buy a legal drink. I want to work with the legislature to change that. I want it to be 21.
She wants it to be 21. That's reasonable. And Hochul also wants the state police to step up its patrols.
I want state police patrols visiting our schools, doing daily check-ins every single day from today till the end of the school year.
And so we'll see what happens. And so now let's dive into the Texas situation. We are taking your calls. 800-848-WABC, 800-848-9222. The alleged gunman, Salvador Ramos, posted 3 times to Facebook roughly 30 minutes before the shooting. And this all started after apparently he had an argument with his grandmother about his failure to graduate from his Texas high school and ended up shooting his grandmother. He got into an argument with his grandmother because he was upset that he was not going to graduate. The graduation was supposed to be Friday. Reports that the suspect, Mr. Ramos, 18 years old, once cut up his face with knives just for fun. Just for fun. And the word bullied. It's not a laughing matter. It never is. But friends and relatives of the young man are saying that he was bullied through middle school because he had a speech impediment, a stutter, if you will. A cousin says she witnessed students mocking him for his impediment during middle school. And so how would you like to be this parent? One of the children wanted to stay home yesterday. The mother said, no, go to school. The child went to school and look at what happened. And the politics about all of this has to stop. They are underway hard and heavy. We see all your calls. We're about to get to them in just 1 second. But Texas gubernatorial candidate, one-time presidential candidate, Beto O'Rourke, went berserk, if you will, interrupting a press conference of Governor Greg Abbott for quote-unquote doing nothing to prevent mass shootings like this one. 19 kids dead, 2 teachers dead. This is what it sounded like when O'Rourke interrupted the governor's news conference.
And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Governor, I would say something.
Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
Shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
This is on you until you check the news.
It's on like you. Why don't you get out of here?
And so that's what it sounded like. It went back and forth. The mayor of the town was the one cursing, if you will, at Mr. O'Rourke. Let's start with your telephone calls this morning. Let's begin with Frank. Frank is calling this morning from Jefferson, New Jersey. Good morning, Frank, and welcome to the Dominic Carter Show.
Good morning, Dominic. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice, and
Thank
even
you.
more of a privilege when I can able to talk to you.
Very kind of you to say.
Thank you. I agree with you and the governor of New York. We are asking a lot of our children who are considered minors at 17 to become adults a year later at 18 and have certain privileges in order for them to create mayhem if they should choose to wish. Yet my kids are staying on my health insurance till they're 26 years old, which is way beyond the age of adult in my eyes. And also, we are asking 5- and 6-year-olds to choose their gender before they're even considered an adult. There's something wrong here.